and then toasted waffles, Rice Krispies, pancakes, homemade pancakes, and then oatmeal, of course, being at the bottom. I opt for, I make my own oatmeal from scratch. I don't do the oatmeal old-fashioned. I do the instant, but I don't do it in the packets. I buy it in the big thing and get the organic, and I put my almond milk in there, 30-calorie unsweetened, and I pop it in the microwave and I get it good and hot, and then I add whatever I'm going to do to it. Most of the time for me, a go-to for me is a scoop of vanilla protein. We need protein powder with our carbohydrates right, and then I'm going to put some nuts, some cinnamon, things like that on it, and I'm gone. That's easy to break down. I don't have to spend a whole lot of time chewing that either, do I? Okay, because it's soft. Avoid junk food, high in sugar. That would be your simple carbs. We all know what those are. They're nutrient depleted. There's no fiber. Oxidized fats. Whenever fats hit air, it oxidizes. We talked about that earlier. Trans fatty acids and additives. The FDA allows over 3,000 additives to be put in your food. Only 20 of those you will recognize. So when you're looking at the labels on your food and you can't pronounce it and you got to get your Google out to define it, you probably need to put it back, okay, because it don't belong there. And 20, but I mean 20 would be garlic, thyme, pepper, salt, things like that. Those would be the first ones. The other ones, it's like, what is this? And I'm going to need a dictionary to sound it out. Not good. But they allow it, and we put it in our body because we think the government is what? Looking out for us. But they are not, because if they were, we would not be obese, because they're allowing these foods to be going on the shelves and be sold to us, okay? So you got to always question what you're putting in your body. Our bodies are not made to break down these substances, and when you do, it acts like a VIP service for your body. So if maybe you got a little heart damage, or maybe you're working on your lungs, you got a little irritability in your stomach, and all of a sudden you dump that in there, guess what? The importance of working on those organs gets pushed to the side. That's number 2. Getting that out of your body becomes number 1. And if you continue to put it in your body, what's going to happen? It's just going to stack up. And your body can't fight itself anymore, and then what do you get? An autoimmune disease, which is when your body can't even fight itself, or it does fight itself. Okay? So we don't want to do that. Okay? Hypoglycemic syndrome, sugar high. These are symptoms that you get, okay, when your blood sugar drops. And all of us have experienced that. And you need to notice this in your children. If you're feeding your kids Pop-Tarts and crazy stuff in the mornings, getting them out the door, and they're acting up at school, or they're throwing themselves on the floor, you know, or maybe your doctor maybe thinks they need a little Adderall or ADHD medication. That's not the case. You need to start looking at what you're feeding your children first. And then when you look at that and the fit that they're throwing or that they're acting out, look at their nutrition first and get that under control. And then maybe if you need to see a doctor for something after they're acting out, maybe look for a little counseling. Maybe there's some things going on in your life that your child is responding to in a negative behavior, okay? Not always putting a chemical in our body is the way to go. That, again, that pill to an ill. Okay, and then the crash, blurred vision, double vision, confusion, fainting, blackouts, paresis, okay? Here's a case study. I always love to do case studies so you have proof. Everything that I have is medically based. It's proven. It works. There's no point in questioning it. If you question it, then you're not ready to accept that you need to do some nutrition modifications in your life, okay? And I work with a lot of patients. They think they're ready, but when it really comes down to it and they realize the work that's involved and then the meal prep and things they've got to do, they don't want it anymore. We want a quick fix. I'm going to go somewhere else and get a pill and a shot. And people think when I get a needle in my tush that I've solved my problems. And no, you have not. You've just prolonged them. So that's not the way to go. A 26-year-old female, long history of fatigue, anxiety, and depression, craved sweets, felt sleepy after large meals. You kind of felt that way probably after your Thanksgiving meal too, didn't you? Okay. Experienced symptoms if she did not eat, hyperdyslemia, including crankiness, mood swings, dizziness, headaches, and gastrointestinal symptoms. Gastro, stomach, intestines symptoms. What do? Treatment. We do what we call an elimination diet. We start eliminating foods from your diet. So we eliminated refined sugar. We knew she loved them. Caffeine, alcohol. Sugar, caffeine, and alcohol dysregulate your blood sugar. This fluctuation spikes blood sugar and causes water to be retained on your brain. Okay? Water retention in our brain is not good. Okay? Now, it takes 3 minutes to get out of focus and 20 minutes to get back in focus. Y'all got that much time to stay out of focus during the day? I don't. So what I put in my body, I need it to go to my brain so I can think and retain the information that I'm receiving so I can retain, give it to you and move on to the next thing I got to do. I don't have 20 minutes to sit over there in outer space. It's kind of like when your laptop kind of goes into sleep mode and it's like, okay, you got to wake up and you're like, you got to get back into it. We kind of get that stare off. You got to think about what you're eating, what you just put in your body. And if those are the sugars, you're going to get off of those. So we pulled her off of all of those. Eat between meal snacks, eating whole foods, taking a multivitamin and a mineral. We're going to talk about those in a minute. Outcome, severe withdrawal, symptoms for 5 days. Now, I don't like to use the word severe, and I'll tell you why. That's a placebo. Severe. All of a sudden, by the third or fourth day, you're coming off of sugar, you're coming off of caffeine, you're coming off of alcohol. And we don't want to pull you off of alcohol, caffeine, and sugar all at the same time because that is severe. So you want to kind of do one thing at a time and get one thing out and then something else and know that you're going to feel good when you do that. That is the outcome. It can't be any other feeling, right? Because the way you're feeling now is horrible. So it has to get better. So pulling these out, severe withdrawal with symptoms for 5 days, then all of them just rapidly resolved, just minimally just went away. Guess what? Remain symptom-free on the diet, but symptoms recurred if she went off the diet. Duh. Put it in your body, it's what you get. Take it out of your body, you feel better. Here. All right, metabolic syndrome, obesity, hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes. We talked about our bodies not being able to break down these substances, and this is the outcome when we put these things in our body. Medications can be reduced, if not eliminated, by making simple changes in your diet. Okay, so when patients come to me, what are the three main categories? Okay, my doctor says if I don't lose the weight and I don't eat better, and doctors don't really know how to tell you how to eat, that's why they send them to me, I'm going to get on this cholesterol medication, or I'm going to have this surgery, or I'm going to have to get on pre-diabetic medication, metformin, or whatever they're going to prescribe for that kind of stuff. And I may need a light BP medication just as a prophylactic because we don't want it to get worse. I don't want to be on these medications, so what do? Well, we're going to look at your nutrition. The first thing we're going to look at is your BMI, okay? And I believe in the BMI. When it is above 30, we need to lose weight. Now, if you're an athlete and you're working out, sometimes that BMI doesn't work for you. Lori and I had this conversation the other day, So for me, my BMI is low, but I'm 49% muscle. So you can't look at the BMI for me. You couldn't look at it for her, or for you, and different ones, because you're lean mass, okay? So when you pull a tape on there and you get some great big bodybuilder, his biceps are like this, then you like go all through the weight of it, it's not going to show correct. So those are differences, and most of the time we don't experience those unless you're in a physical training or a fitness environment, and then you would see that more than you would in an office medical type environment. Okay, so I don't want to be on these medications. So what do? So we look at the BMI. You all have a BMI chart. You can look at that on your own, private, and see what that looks like for you, and then you look at your adjustments. You have a sheet on stress and how to eliminate stress. You can work on that on your own, and then you can see your eliminations and pick the top 5. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves. We already are daily with things we have just in general life, just with waking up and existing, okay? And then we add families and work and bills and Christmas and all these other things on top of it. So look at that and see what you can eliminate, what those things are you've been kind of pushing off to the side, and see if you can kind of get those out of your way. So your BMI, your stress, then we're going to look at your nutrition. What does your diet look like? And you're required to write down everything you've been putting in your body that you can remember. Some people don't eat a whole lot, so like, well, I missed yesterday, so I can't really tell you what the other day was. Well, that tells me you got water on your brain because you can't even tell me what you ate 3 days ago. So you haven't been eating well. So you've answered all my questions. You are going on that medication if we don't get this set. So then we're going to build a program and a system in place for you specifically so you do not have to go on those medications, and most of the patients do not have to go on those. Then the second group would be the ones that come in and say, I'm tired of taking these. I've got 10 pills a day. I'm spending $500 to $1,000 a month on medication. I'm not getting anywhere. I don't feel good. I don't like this. I want to get off of this. And then you say, okay, well, give me a list of what you got, and I need some blood work. And then we're going to look at that, and then I'm going to talk to your MD if we need to communicate, but most of the time I can handle this on my own. And I'm going to look at it and say, okay, this can't go, this can't go, this can't go, but this can go. So over time, we're going to set up a day, a time, and an amount of what we're going to do, and we're going to agree to it, and we're going to work for that so that we can reduce that. And what does that do? That puts money back in your pocket. You get your quality of life back. You're not allocating all that extra time at the doctor's office. When I don't like to sit at the doctor's office, I already start to feel sick when I walk in. I don't want to. I want a feel-good place to go to that I know when I walk in I'm going to get well and healthy. And I sure don't want to sit there for 3 times. I don't allocate that kind of time to wait. Because I'm probably going to be the one that says, I'm sorry, you're going to make me another appointment. I can't wait. My time is just as valuable as yours is. And I will tell you that if you make me wait a long time. That's just rude. You should be number one and important. And that's what we do here, and that's what I do at Dr. Lubin's office. We make sure you, as a patient, are number one when you come in. You're on time, you're on schedule. Here's your information. This is what we're going to do for you. Enjoy your day. Get out there and do what you got to do. You don't have to sit in here for 2 hours and wait and feel bad and wonder about how you're going to get the rest of your day backed up and finished because you're sick. Okay, we want you well. Once you eliminate the above foods and start adding lean proteins, fresh fruits and vegetables, and good fats, you start to feel better and your body can heal and repair itself. Now, when you've damaged your body over time and putting all these bad foods in there, you don't have anything in your organ reserves to fight it off because you've beaten down your organs. So by giving yourself all these good foods, your organ repairs can rebuild up and replenish. So say you've been eating really good, and we don't want to reward ourselves with food. You've been doing that already. So when you say, I'm going to have a cheat meal, that's a bad word. You don't want to use the word cheat because we've been cheating already. You can say, I'm going to treat myself. And if you decide you want to have that ice cream, or you're at a party or a Christmas party and you want to indulge in some of the foods there, your organ reserves are built up enough that you can have that on occasion, okay, with modification, but not all the time, just occasionally. You don't want to treat yourself as food. Food is meant for nourishment, not for pleasure. And we've been pleasuring ourselves for so many years. We've wreaked havoc on our body. So we want to get it back to where everything is functional optimally. So when you do have a little hiccup, you can. I have a patient who's lost over 100 pounds with me, and her goal when she lost 100 pounds was to buy this Michael Kors handbag. Instead of a food or a big meal, which a lot of people do, oh, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. Every time she looks at this Michael Kors handbag, that's 100 pounds to her, y'all. That's a memory she will never forget. And I guarantee you that Michael Kors don't sit on the ground. It sits up here beside her. When she goes to the bathroom, it don't go on the floor. It's on a hook. It's in her lap, and she's loving it because that was her life. She's a non-smoker now. She's not an alcoholic anymore. She's off of blood pressure medication, and she lives a quality of life. She's a wonderful person and a pleasure to be around, and I miss her dearly. I mean, she's on maintenance now. She comes in whenever she needs to. She gets a little hiccup. Hey, Jennifer, get me back on path, and we're good to go. That's what you want. Case study number 2. This is so important. 3.5-year-old female. She's 3.5 years, okay? 30 ear infections. She received antibiotic therapy more than 20 times. They gave her an amoxicillin prophylactic, bilateral infusions in her ears, and the RX are prescribed. That's what RX means, is prescribed. Allergy elimination diet. Something's going on. Why is a 3.5-year-old got 30 ear infections? Okay? So we did an infusions marked after 10 days, took her off the amoxicillin. There was another time when they had to give her a mega dose of it because it wouldn't kill it. And then when they gave her the mega dose of it, then it finally killed it. Okay? But the patient remained symptomatic. The asymptomatic means no symptoms. Symptomatic means symptoms. Okay? For 11 more days, and then we did a food challenge with her. We call this an elimination diet. We started eliminating things from her diet to see what's going on. Corn challenge. So they did an elimination diet with her. They gave her some corn. I don't know if it was an ear of corn. I don't know if it was a casserole, if it was out of a can. Not quite sure. Pain within 20 minutes. Fluid exuding from her ear within 1 hour. Symptom resolved. And we decided, give it a day. Don't give her any more antibiotics. Let's see what happens. Went away. Followed the child for 5 years. As long as she remained off the corn, no ear infections. Okay? Think about corn. Genetically modified food. We feed it to our chickens, our beef. We're feeding it to our pigs to do what? Fatten them up so we can get them to the slaughterhouse really quick to get them on your table so that you can eat them, and they're full of human growth hormone and antibiotics, which what? Make you fat. Which make the animals fat. So really, do you want to put that in your body? You've got, even though it grew from the ground, what soil is it in, and how fast are we growing it?